In 1848, Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels published the Communist Manifesto. These socialist philosophers framed world history in terms of class struggle, where groups of people had exerted unfair power over other groups. Marx and Engels called for revolution to abolish class distinctions. The Nation Parade answers, how did communism play out in Russia? Communists oppose a society where people are divided based on unfair advantages. For example, royalty have authority over their subjects only because of their ancestry, and the wealthy have greater chances for education than the poor, regardless of intellect. Race and religion are other common dividers. Communists called for a system where all citizens contribute and benefit equally, under the control of a benevolent government. This utopian ideal appealed to the people of a country like Russia, where tens of millions lived in poverty under the 300-year-old Romanov autocracy. In Russia, violent revolution kick-started the transition toward communism. Led by Vladimir Lenin, the new government raced to institute immediate change rather than transition gradually. Without much planning or foresight, communist policies were forced onto the nation's citizens, businesses, and economic systems. To avoid opposition, the government ended the freedoms of speech, the press, and association. It outlawed other political parties. For a time, private land ownership was abolished. Land was seized and given to the peasants. Workers replaced business managers and other experts in factories. Banks and foreign investments were confiscated. But the change was too sudden, poorly thought out, and done without widespread support. The economy collapsed, and millions fled the country or died of starvation. Thousands were executed by the government to stifle opposition. When Lenin died, Joseph Stalin abandoned the Marxist ideal of social justice and worker empowerment. He wanted the Soviet Union to become a world power, militarily and economically. Stalin rapidly industrialized his mostly rural country. Millions more died due to his disastrous policies and willful neglect or exploitation of Soviet citizens. Later leaders incorporated elements of capitalism into the Soviet system to keep it financially afloat, but bureaucracy and corruption suffocated innovation and efficiency, which are necessary for capitalism to work. In the communist ideal, government itself would eventually be unnecessary, as all citizens contributed equally to their mutual success. When this was achieved, the nation's selfless leaders would abdicate their positions of power for the good of the masses. This never happened. Under the Soviet version of communism, the class inequalities between the nobility and the peasants did not disappear. The nobility were simply replaced with political tyrants and bureaucrats. Soviet communism collapsed when Gorbachev's policy of openness, or glasnost, legalized public expression. No longer forced to agree with the Kremlin leaders, discontented citizens and nations went their separate ways. Communist economics were abandoned, but communist repression returned within a decade. Check the Nation Parade's full History of Russia for a list of sources. Watch the Nation Parade's shorter videos about Stalin's purges, the invasions of Ukraine, and more. If you found this video helpful and informative, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the Nation Parade to make your world a little bigger.